Hey guys, Metal Driver here, back with another AEW Unrivaled review. Today I'll be looking at Series 5, Jon Moxley. So looking on the side of the box you see an image of Jon Moxley. Then on the back you see this cool picture of Jon, his signature, the event and date in which this picture was taken, and the rest of the figures that are in this wave. Alright, now that we have looked at the box, let's go ahead and open this figure up and take a closer look at Jon Moxley. Alright, and here we have Jon Moxley out of the packaging. But before we take a look at the figure, let's go ahead and look at the accessories that he comes with. So the only accessory that he comes with aside from his entrance vest is the AEW World Heavyweight Championship belt. And we have received this belt before, so this isn't brand new. However, I do notice that the detail is a little bit different than the previous released one with Jon Moxley. So if you look at the one that was released with Series 2 here, it does appear that the gold on the belt is a little bit brighter on the Series 2 than it is with Series 5. And the other thing that I notice right away is that on the Series 2 belt there's this white part here within the triangle part of this back piece here behind the AEW logo, whereas on Series 5, if you look closely, that part is not painted white, but you can see that with the Series 2. So, that's a little bit unfortunate that this belt does not have the same detail, but it is not the biggest deal in the world. It's still a nice looking belt. My guess is most of the cost of the paint went into the actual figure itself, because it does have more paint on the pants than it does with the Series 2 version. Then looking at the head sculpt. This is a brand new head sculpt. It looks really nice. I like the expression on Jon Moxley's face. The paint turned out really well on the teeth, the beard, the eyes, and the eyebrows. The hair looks good. It's all messy in the front, like how it should be. The back looks pretty good as well. So the hair is designed different than the Series 2 version, so comparing that side by side, you can see the sculpting on the hair is different, so I do like that. And then taking a look at the vest. Now this does appear to be the exact same vest as the Series 2. So again, looking at the two figures, so exact same design, exact same detail. Then on the back, it's got Mox. So pretty much the same paint design, although this one does look a little bit brighter than the Series 2, looks a little more faded. And then before I go on and look at the rest of the figure, it does appear that the skin tone is different. Now the skin tone in Series 2 had a more peachish look, whereas all the skin tones after that has this tone here. I do actually prefer how it looks on Series 2, but that's just my preference. But either way, I think the skin tone does look pretty good. And then this vest does come off. Then looking at the rest of the upper body of the figure, it is exactly the same as the previous released Jon Moxley. Now this one does have tattoos on both of the forearms, whereas Series 2 only had it on the left forearm. And then looking at the lower body. So he's got this camo pants on which has black, white, and yellow. Now the paint does not look perfect. I do see some spots, like right here, that only has one coat of yellow, whereas other spots they have appears more than one coat. So this looks better than this. However, to me, it's not really that big of a deal because these are camouflage pants, so they should not look exactly perfect in my opinion. I do think that they look pretty good for what it is. I do like this design. This is pretty cool. The paint on the belt is really good. Doesn't seem to be any sloppiness on the silver part here. And then the boots look exactly the same as Series 2. Alright, then going over the articulation. The head is on a ball joint and a hinge, so it allows the head to go that high up, that far down, so really good range of motion. He can turn his head side to side. Shoulders go that high up. Can go all the way around. There's a bicep swivel. Double jointed elbows. Swivel and hinge at the wrist. There's a ball joint at the upper diaphragm which allows him to go that far forward, that far back. He can turn side to side and pivot. There's another ball joint at the waist which allows him to crunch even further forward, go further back, twist side to side. There are ball joints at the hips which allow the legs to go that far out, and the ball joints are painted in black, unlike Series 2, where it has Moxley's boys hanging out. The leg goes that high up, which really isn't that high up at all. There's a thigh cut, double jointed knees, a cut at the top of the boot, ankle has a hinge which allows it to go that high up, that far down, and there is excellent ankle pivot. Alright, and here is Series 5 Moxley next to Series 2 Jon Moxley. Here he is next to MJF and Chris Jericho. Here he is next to Series 4 Kenny Omega and Cody Rhodes. And then finally here he is next to Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. Alright, so what are my final thoughts on Series 5 Jon Moxley? I think it's a pretty solid figure. I like the head sculpt. I like the expression on his face. I kinda like it a little more than Series 2. Now, would I recommend picking up this figure? Well, that really depends on what kind of a collector you are. If you're a completionist or a big Jon Moxley fan, then this is one you definitely would want to pick up. However, if you're okay with just having one and you already have Series 2, then I don't see a real need to pick this one up. Because even though it's different, it isn't necessarily an improvement over Series 2. So one of the biggest issues that a lot of collectors had with the original Jon Moxley figure is that that figure was too tall, and Jazzwares did not really fix the height on this figure. He's still a bit on the tall side, so again, it's not really an improvement over the original. So unless you're a completionist or the biggest Moxley fan out there, then I don't really see a need for this figure. Now, if you were to ask me which one do I prefer, I'm kind of leaning towards this one, because I do like the head sculpt. The only really big negative I have with this release is that the championship belt is lacking some of the detail from the previous one, and mine has a bit of loose legs here, so that could just be mine. But with that being said, I do think this is a solid figure, and as I mentioned in my previous review, Series 5 is looking very promising. So if you like this review, go ahead and hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe so you can see more AEW Unrivaled reviews. Follow me on social media so you can keep up to date with all my wrestling figure photography, and I'll see you next time.